Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. All right, let's get to some tweets. I think we're starting with Richard Dawkins. So, Richard Dawkins says, sex is clearly binary. Declaring oneself to be otherwise is a distortion of reality. Hashtag gender, hashtag science, hashtag poetry of reality. Okay. So I got into this with someone on Threads today who ended up, I don't even know why they were having the conversation with me, because the final result was like, yeah, no, I think Dawkins is a dink too, and he's wrong about all this. I'm like, okay, then why are you pushing back on me when I give actual scientific data? Like, it was just a weird conversation, but something like 1.7% of the population does not fit the gender binary. They're intersex. There are variations on intersex. Like there are people with XX chromosomes but have a penis and produce sperm. There are people with XY chromosomes that have a uterus and produce eggs. There's people in between. There are people that do both. There are people that exist that produce sperm and eggs, both of them viable. In theory, they could fertilize themselves and carry the pregnancy to term. There's all these different variations, which says that sex is not because what a binary is when something is either one thing or another. There are two options. That's it. That's what the word binary means. In computers, it's a 1 or a 0. If you look at the people that say vinyl records sound better than digital music, it's because in digital, it's all ones and zeros. It's either on or off. There's not the, like, whereas in a vinyl record, you have the slope leading up to, like, it's an analog signal. So it's not just a strict binary, because binary is just one or the other, nothing in between. The fact that intersex people exist means that definitionally, sex is not binary. It is bimodal. Humans are sexually dimorphic. The men are different from the women. But we don't all fit the dimorphism perfectly. There are things in between, which means it is a bimodal distribution. So Dawkins is just factually wrong.
But he made the book The Selfish Gene.
He coined the term meme. And then he got mad that people made meme mean not what it meant originally, which is exactly what he meant when he originally coined the term meme, which is hilarious to me.
Memes did what he said they were going to do, and then he was upset about that information.
Yeah. There are as many intersex as redheads. Is that true? Is that the proportion of redheads in the population?
Let me double check that real quick.
I'm doing that too. Oh, God. Google autofilled that for me, redheaded and left-handed. Yeah, 1 to 2% of the general population have red hair.
Up to 1.7% of the population has an intersex trait. And 0.5% of people have clinically identifiable sexual or reproductive variations.
Fennec says each category is a bell curve and the bell curves overlap. Yeah. Because also, if you think about it, like, if you think about sexual dimorphism, it's like the women have boobs, the men have not boobs. Except there are women with really small boobs. There are men with really big boobs. Like you.
That's just because I need to eat less.
I was talking about your avatars. Sugar. I was talking about your avatars. That was not a fat joke. If it was a fat joke, I would have aimed it at myself, because I'm probably an A cup. I don't know. They're not huge, but they're definitely there.
They're not big enough. I need you to take more of the M&Ms. Grow them.
What sort of kink have we hit on now?
We're somewhere between somewhere between Foodnari and inflation. We're somewhere there.
Uwu Senpai says, I have a uterus and am assigned male at birth. Yeah, that happens.
It happens.
There's a whole story of a guy who I'm going to get some of the details wrong, but like he has a penis, fully functional. He has kids. He has a wife and kids and a family, but he didn't find out till he was like in his 40s that he has a uterus, a fully functioning uterus, produces eggs, had a monthly period. He thought it was just normal that guys bled out their dicks sometimes. And it wasn't until he was in his 40s that he was like, maybe I should get that checked out. And that's when they discovered that he had a fully functioning uterus. And he had kids. So it's like, is that a guy or a girl? He's got a uterus. He produces eggs, produces sperm, has kids. Or is it something in between? Is it that gender is not, or sex is not a binary? Because this isn't even getting into gender. This isn't even getting into gender. This is just sex. So like when you add gender into the mix, which arguably gender could be part of biological sex because your brain is part of your biology. Like that's if you go to research.vicerano.com, you'll find my whole list of scientific papers that have to do with various trans issues or whatever. The very first thing on there is a comprehensive article by Dr. Stephen Novella, a neuroscientist and neurologist, clinical neurologist, and host of Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, who he wrote a whole article, very well-sourced article about how about how sex is not binary, about how it is bimodal. And as part of that, he actually argues that like gender identity, there is evidence that your gender identity actually forms in utero as you're developing in the womb. Like the different hormone exposures, your genetics, like all these different things play a role, but it's like part of your brain when you come out includes what will eventually be your gender identity. And so gender identity should be included in the definition of biological sex. So in that case, like, yeah, like if you include gender identity as part of sex, then it's definitely not binary. And he could have just shut his fucking mouth and gone down in history as a great science communicator. And like, there were hints in his books that he was kind of bigoted in this sort of way. Like thinking back just on certain passages, like there were hints, the signs were there, but if he'd have just shut his mouth and not kept on going on stuff like this, he would have gone down in history as one of the great science communicators, like alongside people like Carl Sagan. But no, he just had to keep talking.
You know, there was a time where Dawkins said, or was it? No, it was Bill Nye. Bill Nye said science is always political. And people got mad at him for that. But as we keep on seeing,
yeah,
that is exactly the fucking case.
Okay, Senpai is still in the chat saying that's how I found out. How's how you found out? I haven't been reading all the chat messages. Like, is this like you were having periods out your penis? Sorry if that's too personal. Don't feel the need to answer that. But I am curious what you were responding to with that one, because there is a delay in between what I'm saying, what the chat is hearing, and then when you type your message, there's a delay between when you type it and when I get it. So like, you could have been talking about something that I was discussing a couple minutes ago. So
I think they might have been talking about the case of the dude.
Like, yeah. That's what I think. But I also don't want to just like put out there, oh yeah, this person in my chat totally bleeds out their dick once a month. So like, if you're not comfortable answering, it's okay. I am curious about what that was in reference to. The story. No, the story of the guy.
Yeah, the story of the guy is how they found out that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they like, I guess, read the story somewhere and decided to get checked out themselves.
I guess.
Sure.
It's better than.
We'll go with that. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. I probably shouldn't have done that. My apologies. I'm a bad person sometimes. I don't mean to be. I just am. Anyway, next up we got Joseph Spurgeon, who says, guys, I meant to get this in last week. Says, guys who like warrior women are gay. This is like, fellas, is it gay to like women?
Is it gay to like girls, guys?
Is it gay to like girls? I mean, if you're a girl, it's gay to like girls, I would think.
It can be sometimes.
See, now, okay, but here's the thing, because like people like this are always anti-LGBTQ.
Mm-hmm.
But like the implication here would be that if you're a girl who is sexually attracted to warrior women, that would make you straight.
We're not going to do this if one thing is true, then if one thing is untrue, then the inverse is true.
If you're a gay guy who is attracted to femboys, does that make you straight? Like there are so many implications to this comment that they didn't think of when they sent it. That like there's so many gay people are straight now according to this logic.
Have you ever read any like 4chan green tech stories?
Oh, probably.
So this is just making me think of somebody like writing a 4chan green tech story.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
About how they're definitely totally still straight because they imagined the guy they were fucking as a girl the entire time.
Oh,
so therefore
I think I've seen that one. That one.
Like, it's just making me think of that. I'm like, I hate to tell you something. That's not how that's working out for you. We're in denial.
But then what's funny is he responded to himself with, I don't understand all the rage. First off, I saw the responses. Most of them were just people laughing at him. I saw zero rage. Nobody was upset. They was all just like, well, guess I'm gay because I think Wonder Woman is hot.
So in douche nugget dumbass's defense, because of how the Twitter algorithm works, you tend
they probably saw the rage more than maybe.
Yeah, you tend to get the stuff that you engage with more often in your feed. So you might have seen the stuff that you were like, ha, hit the like button. And he sees the stuff where he's like, I'm going to angrily type on the internet because I am correct.
Yeah. So, okay, maybe there was rage stuff that I didn't see, but most of what I saw, like, there's 567 replies to that and 163 retweets. I didn't read them all. But like I scrolled through and it was mostly.
So you're saying you didn't do your due diligence? You're saying you're not a real skeptic, Rhino?
I'm not a journalist. I'm sorry. If you're coming to tweets expecting hardcore journalism, you're at the wrong place. This is where we come to make fun of people saying stupid things. I don't really do hardcore journalism. But yeah, like I don't understand the rage. I didn't see any rage. If you think it's okay to be gay, why is it such an insult to be called gay? Like, most of what I saw was people being like, well, guess I'm gay then, because it's not an insult. Like, if you're going to consider me gay for liking Wonder Woman, I guess I'm gay.
Even in the world where he's right about the whole, like, well, if you're saying it's okay to be gay, is it an insult? Well, you got to think about the proportion of people who are gay and have tried to legitimately tell their parents that they're gay, and they were told.
Agent Butterfly is asking if this is softcore journalism.
Yes. This is
softcore journalism. Cyrus and I will grind up against each other, but you won't see any bits.
But you got to think about the amount of people who tried to communicate that, like, hey, they're gay, or hey, they're trans, or hey, they're this, that, or the other, and their parents tell them it's a phase. It's just a phase. It's just a phase. So if you think about that, it makes perfect sense why somebody who tries to tell you that they are straight and you're like, no, this thing is gay and you're gay. If it's okay for somebody who's gay to get upset when somebody diminishes their experience by telling them, no, it's just a phase, then it's equally okay to be upset if you're straight, you're straight, and somebody is doing something like this and you going, no, that's not who I am. Stop telling me I'm that thing. So I make an exception to that rule for Republicans who lie for money.
So I'm going to preface this by saying I have spoken to my daughter about this previously, and I do have her permission to discuss this on my channel because she's old enough now that like I'm not just going to talk about her and not ask her permission first. But she is okay. Trying to remember how she said it. Like she says she's bi, but she doesn't like penises. So she's like, she could date a trans man or trans boy, but she wouldn't want a cis boy. Okay. And like non-binary people she likes, and girls
like
she
the
likes.
Opposite of a super straight.
Yeah, I guess. I remember super straight. But like she whatever she ends up figuring out for herself, because she's still like in the early stages of puberty, so like this could change very easily. So like it could be a phase for her. But like my point in bringing this up is that like she's at a stage of life where it might just be a phase, but it also might not be.
Yeah, you just treat it as if it is.
So the best course of action for me as a parent is to be like, cool, you date who you like.
Yeah, pretty much. If you find a person who you have no idea what their genitalia is, you really start to like them. You're like, oh crap, this thing's here, and you discover something new about yourself. Cool, have at it. Not my problem.
Actually, the hardest part about this is like is sleepover situations, because she's old enough. She's sleeping over at friends' houses, and friends are sleeping over to our house, and
so you're having to make an
like,
executive decision.
Well, because it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, like, when you don't let boys and girls sleep over together, but you do let girls sleep over with girls, but like lesbians are a thing that exists, and bi people are things that exist. And like, if I pretend like this is the 1950s and gay people don't exist, then, you know, you just ignore. So the thing that we've kind of fallen on is that like, stuff is going to happen. I'm not going to encourage it, but I am going to be like everything's got to be safe. But like what we've kind of landed on is if there is a potential for pregnancy to happen, no sleepovers happening.
No, and I think that's reasonable. That sounds fair.
So like she has a friend who is a trans boy who I don't think they're romantically interested in each other. But like they hang out a lot. And like they slept over together, and I'm just like, I just let her have a sleepover with a boy. Is that like? But there's no chance of pregnancy. But also like, my daughter's not really into cis boys, so like, I don't know. Like it's one of those weird parental things. I might be getting too personal here, but. But
that makes sense. Like I know that
it's a difficult thing to navigate as a parent.
So even for people that I was dating when I was growing up, I awkwardly at 16, I had a girlfriend whose parents were okay with me spending the night over at their house. However, the rules were I needed to sleep in a different room that was on the opposite side of the house. I was able to be there for the entirety of the time, but the minute the parents went to sleep, we were to go to sleep, and we were to go to sleep away from each other. Period. That was the rule that I dealt with for that relationship, and I felt like that was reasonable.
Okay, so Mrs. Rhino and I, before we were married, there was an instance where we were sleeping at my grandmother's house because it was near the Toronto airport, and she was going back to where she was. She was from the Cayman Islands. She was going back to Cayman Islands for Christmas, and like I was sleeping there to see her off. So it was like, okay, well, you guys can both sleep over at Grandma's house, but you have to be in different rooms. Mm-hmm. You think we didn't sneak into each other's rooms late at night while my grandmother was asleep? And then watch late night sex with Dr. Sue.
I'm not saying that we didn't.
Oh, you're not Canadian, so you don't know about Sex with Dr. Sue.
No, I have no idea what that is.
She's a Canadian version of Dr. Ruth. It was like a call-in show where she'd give sex advice.
I don't know who Dr. Ruth is.
You don't know Dr. Ruth? Okay, that's an American thing.
Yeah, but
it's a little old lady who's like the sweetest little old lady who'll be like, well, if you're going to stick your fingers inside her vagina and stimulate the G-spot, you want to make sure your furniture is covered with plastic sheets first to make the cleanup easier. And it's like this cute little old lady just like being so sexually explicit. And it's this weird, it's weird, but like it was fun to watch.
Huh. I mean, sure, there's definitely some good advice there.
Fennec says, I promise you're overthinking it. I know I'm overthinking it. I overthink everything. That's just who I am.
That's okay. I know. We still love you.
No, that is something I need to... it is something I need to work on for myself, is not overthinking things so much.
understand that. It's so I have a friend who had a similar problem, and I'm not going to say you should adopt his solution, but his solution was funny. He carries around a dice with him at all times now. So whenever he starts overthinking something or he can't come to a decision, he just pulls it out of his pocket and adheres to whatever the dice does. And it's like, well,
yeah,
you know,
probably
you
not
at
going
least,
with that.
it's like you at least make the decisions more quickly now.
Okay, Lord of Uzkalak says, wasn't Dr. Ruth on an episode of Quantum Leap once? Yes, absolutely yes. I thought of that while I was talking about it, but I thought that was such an obscure reference that, like, Cyrus wouldn't get it if he hasn't heard of Dr. Ruth. Like, have you watched Quantum Leap? Have you watched Quantum Leap?
No, I haven't.
That's a good fucking show. You should watch Quantum Leap. Scott Bakula is not an amazing actor, but he did a good job in Quantum Leap.
Well, I am working on a laundry list of shows
Dr.
right
Ruth
now.
was on Sesame Street. Okay, I gotta look that up. Everybody was on Sesame Street. Yo-Yo Ma was on Sesame Street. But Yo-Yo Ma was a cellist, not a sex educator.
So while we were on our way to Florida, me and Saki were basically organizing our list of, like, these are the things that I've watched that you should watch. These are the things that you've watched that I should watch. And then these are the things that we together have wanted to watch but have not watched yet. And we started building up our list in chronological order of, this is the order we're going to do this in, barring something else happening. So I'm working on it.
Okay, so this is one of the ways that this is a weird part of my relationship, my current relationship, is one of the ways I wooed her into, like, accepting me as a long-term permanent partner sort of thing was with my spreadsheet skills. So, like, one of the first things I did was, like, we were talking about different shows we wanted to watch, and we were like, well, how do we decide what order to watch them in? It's like, okay, let's put together a list of all the shows that we want to watch. We'll put it in a spreadsheet, and then, like, each of us can, like, rank the other one's shows and our own in order of, like give it a number from 1 to 10 of how much you really want to watch that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the spreadsheet, like, automatically organize them to put it in priority to, like, as what we're going to watch. And that was one of the, like, clinchers. I was like, oh yeah, this is a guy that I want to, like, get long-term with. It was like sploosh. He made a spreadsheet. And it was,
I mean,
now, like, have we abided by the spreadsheet? No, I've made her watch a bunch of really crappy Christian movies because I listen to god-awful movies and I watch the movies too, and I think they're hilarious, and she often thinks they're hilarious. So, like, I'll watch it first, and then if it's, like, a good bad movie, I'll, like, bring it to her. But if it's a, like, not fun bad movie or whatever, we won't. And apparently, like, my judgment and hers are different because, like, Baptist at Her Barbecue I thought was fucking hilarious, but she was just like, this is so, like, this isn't bad good, this is just bad. So she's not going to trust my judgment with that anymore. But, like, our list of things that we actually want to watch is almost untouched, but we've watched so many other things together.
You've done parts of it. See, you've got the spreadsheet story. The way that me and Saki got together or realized we liked each other was we were playing a lot of Magic the Gathering together and World of Warcraft. And we were just like, each other's company is better than not. This is nice.
Jester Lord of Fools says, I heard of Quantum Leap and I do like Bakula. I think, okay, so I said he's not a great actor. I think he was a great actor in Quantum Leap. So, like, there are times when, like, he's playing a woman and he does a really good job of, like a pregnant woman. He leaps into a pregnant woman once, and, like, he does a really good job of, like, acting pregnant and, like, appearing to experience the things that a pregnant woman experiences. He does a great job with that, at least according to all the people who have been pregnant that I'm aware of that have seen that episode. He did a really good job because, like, I've never been pregnant. I don't know. But, like, I'm thinking to his time on Star Trek where he was not great. Like, he's not a captain of the Enterprise. I'm sorry. He was not good in Star Trek. Oh, and we got Blade Runner saying, I preferred Bakula as Jonathan Archer. No, he was not good in that show. He was so wooden. Like, but that's the weird thing is, like, he was so good at Quantum Leap. And that's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of baffling to me because like, you know, for some actors you can say like, yeah, they fit this part really well. They always play the same character in everything they're in and they do it really well. So like, they're not a great actor, but they do this one character really well. But Quantum Leap is not that. He's a different character every time. He's like, he has to act like Dr. What's his face, Sam, being someone else. And it's different every time. So, and he did a really good job with it. But like Enterprise just, it felt, well, Mimi Q says Enterprise was phoned in. Like, yeah, that's a good explanation. Like it felt like he was phoning it in. He was just reading the lines, like almost as if they were on a teleprompter and he wasn't aware of what was coming next.
He's doing his best, but his best is one step at a time in the worst way.
Sure.
I mean, that's literally what reading a teleprompter with no understanding of what's on it is.
You
It's
know,
like, aha,
okay.
this is the way I'm supposed to say
So-
it, and then the next line goes, oh wait a minute, maybe I was supposed to use a different word.
So as someone who uses a teleprompter when I film, but also writes the script that goes in the teleprompter, it's actually amazing to me how many times I'm like surprised by what comes next on the teleprompter. Like I wrote that.
Yeah,
I should know what's coming next, but I don't.
that was prior.
Dr. Sam Beckett, yes. Sam Beckett, the playwright? No, not the playwright.
Prior Rhino and current Rhino are two different people. You're not responsible for the things prior Rhino did.
Yeah, no, well, that's
You are here to be surprised by them.
that's an ADHD thing. Like there are times when it's like I'm writing in the script that like I know how I want me to say this later, but I know I'm going to forget this. Oh, Q is fun. I love John Delancey. John Delancey is amazing.
So a friend sat me down to have me watch My Little Pony before I watched Star Trek Next Generation. So I got to discover Q in reverse order. I saw Discord first and then I met Q. And I was like,
Yeah.
I love this character because I already love this character.
Yes. Oh my God. He's so great in My Little Pony.
It's such a weird
And it's the
such a
same
weird
character.
thing.
It's
I refused to watch that show for so long because it's My Little Pony, and my friend had to sit there and just go like, no, you liked Powerpuff Girls growing up, right? I was like, yeah, it was great. It's like, okay, cool, it's the same writer, just sit down and watch it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, like I haven't watched everything about it, but I understand how it can, like, as a parent, I can understand how that can be a show that you can watch with your kids and not hate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the brony phenomena where like grown men are watching it, but they don't have kids. Like, I don't get that. But like, if my kids wanted to watch it, I'd watch it with them. I've seen a couple of the movies.
For me, I think it's that like I already liked anime, and I already liked really good, not just comedy writing, but just like really good dramatic writing. And at the way that I went through that show was I was told to just watch the bookend episodes because they're the ones that have like important story bits, and then everything else is just syndication.
Yeah.
So I watched those, and watching the show that way, it felt like watching an anime. Whereas when I've sat down with when me and Raz were together and she wanted to watch the show, when I sat down and watched it that way, it was a little less tolerable watching the syndication episodes because I don't care about these characters as much as when they're in effectively mini movies.
You just reminded me that I need to keep watching Cowboy Bebop. Because
that is an amazing show. And
yeah,
yes,
well,
you do.
That's one of the shows that like my partner is not really into, and so since she's not home this week, I can maybe watch a couple more episodes because I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes in.
No, Cowboy Bebop is. I am.
I know
thankful.
she's not into anime, so I know she won't want to watch that with me. And I find like shows that I like that other people around me don't like, I tend not to watch them because I consider watching a show to be like a community activity. I watch a show
You want to watch
with
something
people.
with someone.
I watch them with people because it's a bonding experience. You watch it with someone, you talk about it afterwards, you enjoy the thing. Like she's not into Star Trek, but she's liking Strange New Worlds. And she also liked we watched all the animated one. What's it called?
Lower Decks?
Yeah, Lower Decks. She watched all of Lower Decks with me. She enjoyed Lower Decks. We're watching Strange New Worlds. She's enjoying Strange New Worlds. She will never sit down and watch any of the 90s shows or the original series.
She'll never watch like Next Generation.
Yeah, no. She would not be in Next Generation. It's just not going to do it for her. And I know enough about her tastes to not even try that with her.
That's
like
understandable.
There might be a couple episodes that's like, well, if you really want to get this joke that's coming up in Lower Decks, you can watch this one, sort of thing. But like, and there are a couple like really good episodes that maybe like we'll watch them because like I will reference them in everyday conversation. Then I have to explain myself because she's never seen it.
I'm so a thing that me and Saki have been doing that I like is listening to audiobooks together. We've since I was reading the Dresden Files as we were doing our run up to the convention, and she started asking questions about the series as we were going. And now she's at the point where like if we're in the car and we have more than a 20-minute drive, she's just like, hey, could you turn on Audible? Can we listen to Dresden?
Inside Spin says the first couple seasons of TNG are unwatchable. I wouldn't say unwatchable.
They're campy,
but you can terrible. Take camp. They are terrible.
They are very campy, but if you like camp,
Depressed Data is just hard to watch.
Okay, but Rhino, Data is fully functional.
Yes.
I would not say they're unwatchable.
Blade Runner is saying best Trek is Deep Space Nine. I couldn't get into Deep Space Nine. This is one of those things where it's like I've tried. I have tried because I love Star Trek, but I just can't get interested in it. And like people keep telling me like, oh, you got to watch till like season 4 and then it gets really good. And it's like, I'm not going to sit down and watch through 3 seasons of shit that I'm not enjoying to get to the couple seasons that I might enjoy later.
This is the reason why I don't suggest people watch Steven Universe a lot. I love that show to death. The first 50 episodes of it are hot horsecock garbage. And anybody who argues otherwise is lying to you. After that show becomes an amazing space opera with horror elements and all kinds of stuff. But when that show is trying to be just a kid's cartoon, it is fucking awful.
Okay, so you have to get to the store, and we're supposed to be talking about guys who like women are gay. We've been on this tweet for so long now. And I know you got stores that are closing, so we got to get going. Kevin Sorbo, strangely based. He says congressmen should be paid the median salary of the district they represent, and they shouldn't be allowed to invest in stocks. Okay, Kevin Sorbo said a good thing. It's so weird when I agree with him, but occasionally he says something that I agree with. He also says that there should be upper age limits on elected representatives. Absolutely agree. Great. K-Sorbs and I are on the same page.
You don't want dial-up Mitch McConnell.
No, I don't want fucking, what's her face? I forget her name. The one that's like Dianne Feinstein. Feinstein? Whatever her name. Yeah. Who like doesn't remember what session of Congress she's in. He's like, yeah, I voted on that yesterday. That was put up for a vote 6 months ago. No, it was yesterday. I'm like, you probably shouldn't be in Congress. Please retire.
Your paychecks are guaranteed. Just take them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, congressmen should be paid the median salary of the district they represent. Okay, I agree. Cut Congress salary. Being an elected representative should not be something that you do to get rich. It should be something that is actually a hardship so that people that actually want to make a positive difference in the lives of the people they represent are the ones who are running. As if you make it lucrative, if you make it attractive, then corrupt people are going to go for it. If you make it unattractive, if you make it something that you do because you feel the burning need to do something for the people that live where you live, and that's the only reason you would ever even want to seek elected office, then you're going to get a better government. You're going to get people that are actually representing their constituents.
I mean, unironically, use a governmental system sort of like what was in Divergent, where like if you want to go into government, you end up in the most plain Jane, boring ass housing and everything. But,
sure, absolutely.
But at least we know you're not corrupt.
Yeah, 100%. You should not go to Congress to get rich. But so many of them do. And this is Democrats and Republicans. This is a bipartisan issue.
Across the board thing.
Yeah, so rare-based case orbs. It's always so weird to me when I agree with him. However, the next one is case orb saying, if 2020 was a landslide like people claim it was, why are they so afraid of him running again in 2024? Because the Electoral College is a fucking broken system.
If I rolled a d20 and I scored a natural 20 on my death save, does it mean that I want to roll it again just to see what happens?
Nope. No! I would like the healer on my team to give me 1 HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather...
I actually want them to give me 1 HP because then I'm not... Then I'm not at 0, and now I'm not having to do death saving throws.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's my paladin.
That's why I said that. That's why I said that. I play D&D, sir, so I know what I'm talking about.
Do you have a paladin in your party that keeps a few points and lay on hands just to smack you in the ass? I was the paladin
in my party, Cirrus.
So was I.
All right, paladins unite. All right, I just threw that one in because we had to get to the case orbs that I disagree with. Because it felt weird agreeing with case orbs. Marsha Blackburn says, Biden wants to ban your light bulbs. Why is the radical left so intent on making your life less convenient? No, we want to make it cheaper. LED light bulbs are cheaper for you. They're better for you. I mean, some people are sensitive to them, so yes, they should be able to still buy incandescents, but LED bulbs are so much fucking cheaper.
Well, also, LED bulbs can have their brightness diminished automatically to be closer to incandescents. You can just dim them.
No, the problem is some people are actually sensitive to the flickering. So so the dimming actually decreases how often they're flickering, which makes it more noticeable, which can cause some people to have headaches. So that is a legitimate problem, but it is an extreme minority of the population. You should still have access to incandescent bulbs. However, anyone who does not suffer from that, my whole house has been LED since 2010. I've been buying LED bulbs since they were $25 a bulb. And I still have some of the first ones that I bought. Because they last fucking forever.
This is like somebody getting upset that they can't just get asbestos for their house anymore.
Yeah.
Why are you making my life inconvenient? I need asbestos in my building materials. No, you don't.
Loki the Trickster says, oh yeah, I hate LED flickering. It hurts. Absolutely. Now, there are certain LED bulb, if you give them a bit of a green tint, that apparently reduces the flickering to a point where it makes it more tolerable to people that are sensitive to that. Mm-hmm. But there are people that LED bulbs gives them headaches, and absolutely they should still have options for lighting their house that doesn't cause them pain.
Well, Biden's not banning candles.
God.
Sorry.
But I mean, the first
thing that popped to my mind.
I haven't looked into this, but I would be willing to bet that Biden is not banning incandescent bulbs or CFLs. CFLs are probably fine for that as well. And CFLs are still way better than incandescent. Tim Poole says, you are in a civil war, when NBC News has reported on Trump's indictment. So, calling for violence.
Does he know what a civil war is?
John 73 John says, why can't I buy miracle tonics with arsenic and mercury anymore? It's because we know those things are poisons.
Why can't I buy poison anymore? I need it. I won't be able to get off without it.
Hobo Homunculus says LEDs with a solid white shell limit the flicker pain. I actually buy the LEDs with the frosted white glass anyway, because this is not the case anymore. But when LED bulbs first came out, it was the case that like the white ones in particular, if you look directly at the actual diodes themselves, it could cause eye damage. And they were selling bulbs with non-frosted glass where you could look directly at the white LEDs. And it's like, I don't want to look at that and damage my eyes. So I would always buy the frosted ones. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess get white LEDs with a frosted thing, which minimizes the flicker, according to Hobo Homunculus. I don't know. Anyway, Tim Pool calling for violence, basically. Donald Trump. It's been a while since we've seen him on tweets. So I actually went to Truth Social today. He says, I hear that deranged Jack Smith, in order to interfere with the presidential election of 2024, will be putting out yet another fake indictment of your favorite president, me, at 5 p.m. Why didn't they do this 2.5 years ago? Why did they wait so long? To gather evidence. Because they wanted to put it right in the middle of my campaign. Prosecutorial misconduct. It's like, no, they want to get the prosecution done and over with before the election, so that you can't stop the investigation and the prosecution when you're like, if you become president again, heaven forbid. Oh my God. Could you imagine another term with that asshole?
I mean, I can imagine getting myself banned off of YouTube because of some of the things I'll probably say.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Donald Trump again. Thank you to everyone. I've never had so much support on anything before. Actually, if you follow the numbers, his campaign has been taking in less and less donation with every indictment. So like the third indictment got the least amount of donations. So he got more in
I thought he was a successful billionaire. Why does he need so many donations?
Actually, that's something I've wondered myself, is like, does this guy who looks down on these people, like, I listened to the Cognitive Dissonance podcast, and they were talking about, I think it was Tom on there. It might have been Cecil, but I'm pretty sure it was Tom. Says his dad met Donald Trump like years, like back in the 1980s, before he was a political figure and back when he was a real estate mogul. And he was the kind of guy that would walk into a bank and would refuse to even acknowledge the existence of anyone who wasn't in a managerial role. So if there was like someone that had a legitimate question that they needed answered from Trump, they would have to like write down the question and hand it to the manager so that they could go to Trump and ask the question, because he wouldn't even acknowledge their existence if they asked him.
Wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, because he's a piece of shit. So like he's the kind of person that looks down on everyday working Americans. He hates them. So like I often wonder, like, does it bother him that his income right now relies on begging the people that he despises for money to support him? Like, probably not, because he looks at it as grifting them. I'm ripping these people off. Look at those idiots. Like, that's probably how he looks at it. But like, it's got to bug him a little bit that like he wouldn't have an income if it weren't for these people that he is begging for money that he despises.
Cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug, I know, you know that.
It's also a good show.
But
okay, I don't need to finish that one. It's Trump typing in all caps. We all know how that goes. And we're done. So
we did it.
We made it through. You can get to the store before they close. So
maybe.
Probably. I don't know. You're small town Georgia. The store might be 45 minutes away.
Some of them are.
All right. Thanks for joining me. Even though you're tired, I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Go heal your party.
Have a good night. As always, fuck off.